Tonight, super appreciate everyone being here. I would like to give my wonderful cast an opportunity to tell you who they are, what they're playing, and maybe where the character's at right now, because some strange things, of course, happened last game, which I will recap shortly. But first, JD, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I am JD. You can find me on the socials at JD, not Jason Dean. And in this game, I am playing Dr. Henry Ellis, the medical examiner. And I don't really know about these other people that I've been placed with. I mean, I'm the only one that isn't working on this case because Holmes had a file on me. I was just brought in as the medical examiner, so I don't know what's going on with visions, with angels, with any of this, but I'm going to find out.
You know nothing. You are pure and innocent
I
as the
have
driven
done
snow.
nothing wrong ever in my life.
Absolutely. I'm here to back that up. I know your character's background, and I know we shall see. Mwahaha. Thanks so much, JD, for being here and playing this oh so innocent character for us. Someone who is perhaps a tad less innocent, and as perhaps sowed as wild oats a little bit more throughout Victorian London, would be Monsieur Adrian. What's up, Adrian?
Hello, good evening. My name is Adrian. You can find me on the socials at Sly Sparrow. That's on all the Discord and all the other miscellaneous social media. Tonight I am playing the Marquesse Henry de Beresford, and he is a detective from the high upper echelons of society who has been really sowing his wild oats and going to wild, crazy parties and getting a little bit over his head and making wild wagers and going into the darkness and trying to solve crimes and do all kinds of weird things. And right as he's thinking that, it's time to kind of put an end to this and just live as an aristocrat and retire in your glorious mansion, that's when he finds out that Sherlock Holmes had a file on him.
When you're just trying to be a dilettante and they won't let you be.
I know.
It's a harsh life. It's a harsh life. But yeah, perhaps there's still some opium to be had. Thank you, Adrian, for joining us and being back here tonight. Stephanie, what's up? How are you doing, Stephanie?
Pretty good, thanks. Excited to be back.
You are.
I am playing Lillian Durant, the writer of the group, writer of some gothic fiction, but also a lot of niche academic texts on the study of angels and Enochian. It's a very niche field. Not a lot of people take it seriously, but it's fine. She has a good time. She's very curious about the current company she is keeping, and more so curious about who is hunting angels in the city.
Who would do
we're
such
gonna
a
see
thing?
who would. Like, it's so rude, but we're gonna see what they turn up tonight and what gets revealed.
Mm-hmm. Many a dark
Just normal
thing.
lady, normal widow, normal night.
Normal everything. Everything's fine. I like how just normal everything is.
Mhm.
We were gonna play like this dark game, and everybody's just so nice and normal. We could be playing Care Bears, the RPG. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here and bringing the academic to this group of otherwise. Well, no, I guess the doctor is fairly well educated, and certainly the Marquesse would have had the benefit of a classical education, and Emrys certainly would have been to the School of Hard Knocks. So tell us a little bit about this, Kian. How you doing?
I'm good. Hello, everybody. My name is Kian. I am a queer trans Filipino TTRPG performer. I am playing Emrys, who is, any sense of normalcy for this guy is out the window because he had a vision and everybody saw it. And he's not intelligent, unlike the rest of the group. So really, he's kind of an outlier, but he has everybody's secrets right now, which is very exciting for him. He is pretty curious about where these things are going, and he really wants to know whomst was in his head saying, "I can see you" during the vision. That was casually terrifying, and he has not shared with the group. that somebody said that. So we're going to see how that progresses. I'm sure that keeping secrets from the group is going to go really, really well for him. It usually does.
And it was probably someone who has your best interest at heart who said that too. So
Of course, a long lost friend.
absolutely. And
It's
you
gonna be
also have,
fine.
speaking of friend, you also have a best boy with you.
I do. I have a dog, a scruffy little black dog named Clever, who I absolutely adore.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody, for being back. We will dive right into this in just a moment. A couple of shout outs. The music you are hearing is by Ivan Dutch. Do please consider giving Mr. Ivan Dutch a little look-see on their website. Tons of cool stuff and easily available for people doing video games or TTRPGs or streams, so on and so forth. So a lot of excellent stuff. The game we're playing tonight is Penny Dreadful, but we are using the Vaesen system published by Free League Publishing because the system is very similar. It's a Victorian supernatural horror thing, so we tweaked it a little bit, but it works. So here we are with it. I will be using maps tonight by Animated Dungeon Maps. Wonderful work. Also, check out their Patreon, their link. Everything should be in the chat box next to us right now. So, I, of course, am the Bleakseason. You know I am if you're here. If you do not, well, you're about to find out. Thank you for being here. I super appreciate it. If you wish to help our friends here tonight during the game, you can donate some bits. For 100 bits, you can buy the player of your choice an advantage, which they may need perhaps a little later. We'll see how that goes. For 300 bits, you can buy all 4 of them an advantage. Little recap then. Last week, as some of you have mentioned, you were rounded up, brought together by Watson, Dr. Watson of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson fame. Dr. Watson, of course, has lost Sherlock recently. Sherlock has died along with his nemesis, Professor Moriarty. But it seems that Mr. Holmes had files on people of interest in the city that he didn't quite understand or wasn't able to really kind of put a finger on, people who were involved in strange things, this, that, the other. And when Inspector Lestrade brought to Watson this case of this person who had been found dead in Paradise Alley the night before, who appeared to have had wings that were cut off, had no genitalia, and the eyes had been scooped out. There was no place for optic nerves. It was a very strange thing to find. Watson, feeling a little bit overwhelmed, called upon a group of people that he knew might be interested in this and could perhaps help elucidate the mystery. He gave everyone the files that Sherlock Holmes had on them, except for, of course, Dr. Ellis, who was the chief medical examiner, and as far as Dr. Ellis knows, Sherlock Holmes had no file on him. You investigated the body. You saw some strange Emrys saw some strange visions, and then you repaired to 227B Baker Street, which Mr. Dr. Watson has graciously donated to use during your investigation. You spend some time chit-chatting a little bit, getting to know each other. Some of you used this time to commit larceny, lifting secret information from the pockets of some of your companions, and spying on others who were perhaps experiencing some inner turmoil in the bathroom. And then you decided to head out to, I mean, if you're going to experience inner turmoil, it might as well be in the bathroom. And then you decided to head out to the site of the murder, Paradise Alley, which is a small dead-end alley in the Limehouse district, which is basically the Chinatown district of Victorian London, near where the opium parlors and so on and so forth are. Some of the clues you found indicated that the victim had been a fairly recent opium user, amongst other things. You also discovered that there was coal on the clothing, and that the body had been found grasping a chain, like the chain from a pocket watch or something, but a pocket watch was missing. And so as you head tonight together, perhaps in the Marquesse's handsome cab. In the heart of London's Limehouse district, amidst the grimy labyrinth of narrow cobblestone streets and shadowy alleyways, lies a dead-end alley that epitomizes the squalor and despair of the city. This forsaken passage, known locally as Paradise Alley, is a place where time seems to have come to a standstill, as if the very air is suffused with the weight of bygone eras' secrets. Paradise Alley is treacherously uneven pathway. It's cobblestones worn smooth by countless footsteps and a relentless onslaught of weather. The crooked leaning buildings on either side cast a perpetual gloom upon the alley, obscuring it in a shroud of perpetual twilight. The masonry is chipped and crumbling, their soot-stained facades offering a mere hint of their former grandeur, now decayed into grotesque caricatures of their former selves. The filth that clings to every surface in Paradise Alley is staggering. Piles of rotting refuse, discarded scraps of paper and food, and the detritus of 1,000 lives have accumulated in the corners, infesting the alley with the stench of decay. Feral cats and rats, drawn to the promise of sustenance, scurry among the rubbish, their eyes gleaming in the dimness. Near the alley's entrance, just a stone's throw away, the acrid fume of opium dens waft through the air, accompanied by the haunting strains of mournful music that emanate from within. The patrons, with their opium pipes and hollowed expression, shuffle in and out of these dens, seeking solace in the oblivion they offer, heedless of the world outside. At the far end of Paradise Alley, amidst the pervasive gloom, stands a rickety stall where a coal vendor ekes out a meager living. The vendor, draped in tattered clothing and perpetually covered in a layer of soot, tends to his dwindling coal supply, the black rocks gleaming like dark jewels in the dim light. His hand-cranked coal grinder rasps and groans as it pulverizes the precious fuel into smaller pieces, sending up plumes of gritty dust that settle on every surface. Paradise Alley is a place forgotten by progress, where poverty and vice thrive in the shadows of Victorian society. It is a microcosm of the stark contrast between the opulence of the upper classes and the abject destitution of those condemned to dwell in the inner corners of the city, a place where the past clings to the present in a suffocating embrace, and the future seems a distant, unattainable dream. It is a place where hope comes to lay its head and slip away into the void. So tell me, my friends, what would you like to do?
I think Dr. Ellis would like to see if he can figure out where the body was found and anything he could discover around that area.
That is not too difficult to find. You will be able to fairly easy enough spot the little area where that occurred, so you can definitely sort of head on down there and take a look at that. What about the rest of you? What would you like to do?
The Marquess will exit the carriage, have his coat up really high, and his very large top hat. He will ceremoniously take out his handkerchief that he keeps over his nose and his mouth due to the horrendous stench of this place. He will kind of whisper, muttering to himself, "Welcome to paradise," and will walk down the dark alley towards the coal vendor. And we'll start there. At no point of getting high on opium until the end of the investigation. So we will start with the coal.
The coal vendor.
He will look over his shoulder a bit and look over at Emrys and be like, "I'm sure you know this place better than anyone. Are you coming, or are you going? Are we splitting up?"
I want to be offended by that, but I absolutely do outrank you here, and I will go with the Marquess over to the coal cellar.
Shots fired right there. And what will Lillian be doing?
Lillian is kind of doing a bit of a walk up and down the alley. Did you say it's a dead-end alley with only the one entrance? Yeah. She's... And is it a buildings on all three sides then, or is it a fence separating?
No, it's so if you look at the map, Albert, you'll kind of get an idea of what the map looks like. Yeah, you're sort of looking at it. You are at the dead end here looking at it, and so at the other end there's like a transversal street like this, and then this little alley sort of comes here, and there's kind of little nooks on either side that go behind the building there, but it is buildings on all three sides.
Gotcha.
So where would you like to go?
I think Lillian is checking. It looks like there's a garden or some fenced area in the center with a statue. She's going to poke through there and see if anything might have been overlooked in the brush there.
All right. Excellent. So we will begin then by Dr. Ellis. You find your way towards, so at the end of the alley where it dead ends, like I said, there's kind of two little alcoves on either side. And one of them is where the body was found. And you notice it because the constabulary have a tendency, they have these little yellow flags that they plant near areas of crime. They get destroyed or taken or stolen, like usually very quickly, but this happened very recently. So you can see a little yellow flag that's near one of the sites, and when you kind of come around, you can see that it looks like maybe the victim was staying here or something. There's like a few personal effects. There's a bit of a tarp that's like kind of been ripped now, but that was maybe hanging up to protect from the rain, and a few other things sort of kicking around. You can clearly see quite a large amount of blood that has been spilled here. Whatever was on the ground has been soaked in it. There's definitely been a rain since then, because, you know, it's London. So a lot of it has washed off, but you can still see between the cobblestones, some of the dark red blood that's still there, and that's kind of as dried up at this point. There are probably a couple of rats in one corner sort of lapping at one of the little puddles, and when you come around, they sort of hiss at you because you're disturbing them, and then they scuttle off a little bit to wait until you leave before they come back out. How would you like to proceed in this particular area?
Well, first of all, I think there is a moment, and thankfully, Dr. Ellis is on his own here. Because I think when that rat hisses at him, he hisses right back.
Way to go. The rat looks at you like you're out of your mind.
It's a valid response.
Yep. Like, who do you think you are? And then proceeds to scurry away, throwing one last glance over his shoulder to make sure you're not following it.
I'm not. I'm just watching it. I'm making sure it leaves.
It leaves. It leaves. In a hurry. It knows when.
And that's good.
It knows when it's met. Someone more dangerous than itself. And then what would you like to do? How would you like to proceed?
I think I would like to first take a look at the personal effects. Try to get a sense, as much as I can, of, based at least on the scraps of data I have here, who the victim was. Because I know what the victim looked like when he got to me, but I do not know anything about what he was like before.
You will give me an investigation check.
I would love to. Three successes.
You go through the effects, and you realize that most of the effects are actually very old and have been there for quite a while. You're not actually so sure now that they necessarily belong to him. The portrait you're kind of putting together is that this is probably kind of a known, out of the way spot that anyone who doesn't want to be smoking in the dens or something can come and check if it's free, you know, kind of a little spot. And so the detritus that's there is amassed from different people over months, perhaps years, just things they've kind of left behind. You find little messages kind of written into the wall with, you know, whatever, a nail or something that they would have scratched in, and sometimes it's just like Smithy was here, or you know, some pithy line from some ancient forgotten poem or things like that. There is nothing here that seems to indicate a life, like a personality or a person or a life, as if this is very much a spot of transience. You, oddly enough, don't find anything that you think would connect to him. Going back to what you knew of your investigation with the anesthetic that was used and things of that nature, you're kind of getting the sense that he was probably lured here. That's kind of the picture you're getting, because that drought administered to him, whoever was doing it wouldn't have taken the chance that it would have knocked him out in the smoke parlor or in the street or something else. Like, whoever gave this to him wanted this to happen here, and so it would have been someone who somehow lured this person here. Did they know him? Did they not know him? Well, who could have lured that person here? So that's kind of the sense you're getting from this little corner. A little bit further down the street, the Marquesse and Emrys, you approach the old coal vendor. He kind of looks at you with a very wary eye, and well, okay, so let me put it this way. He kind of looks at Emrys with a very wary eye, but then he sees the Marquesse and he, you know, smells money. But he knows someone like you in an alley like this approaching him with someone like Emrys, he knows there's trouble. So right away he's kind of on his guard, and you can see that he's got his little coal raker and he's kind of holding it. And this is an old man. He's got like one of those little kind of floppy hats that comes to the side, and he's got an old coat, and it's just covered. Like, he's just covered in coal dust everywhere. And as you approach, the stench of it just sort of wafts up. Yeah, may I help you, sir? I'm not supposing you're here looking for any coal, are you?
The Marquez will take out a small little flask and pour a little bit of some kind of alcohol, maybe like some sort of whiskey, in a small little like thimble type cup, and place it in front of him. Something to warm your cold bones. We're not here to purchase any coal, unfortunately, but we'll have some questions about someone who might have recently.
Well, you have to be a mite more specific than that. There's quite a lot of people that stop by. It's best coal in the city, you see. High quality. And he takes a piece and he kind of offers it up to you, and it doesn't look like anything but coal to you, and, you know, it just looks dirty.
Yeah.
Can the two of you also, just sort of while you're there, just give me an investigation check, just to see on whatever you might sort of pick up, just while you're talking. So you roll a number of dice equal to your investigation and your logic, and tell me how many sixes you get.
1 6.
Okay.
Just a second. 2 6s.
Okay. I will say both of you notice that the cart looks damaged, and you can see on the floor pieces of wood and whatnot that might have come from it, like it was very recently kind of interfered with, let's say. Go on then.
For my timeline purposes, Bleak, when did the murder happen? Like how?
It occurred sometime. So we were now at night, the same night that you. So it occurred sometime the night before.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, 24 hours ago.
Emrys, who
Or
still
I'm sorry. I should say the body was found about 24 hours ago. You, doctor, would know that it really wasn't dead much longer than that. So it would have happened like, in the night before kind of thing. But exactly when it happened, hard to determine. Definitely they don't have that science yet at this stage.
Okay. Emrys still looks pretty pale and shaky after the vision. Absolutely stole a walking stick from Sherlock's house to lean on and to use. And previously, y'all had seen him worrying something in his pocket, but this time he is reaching into the inside of his coat, and that is where the dossier is. And he is trying to keep his hands on it because he's a little nervous, knowing that it is on his person and the Marquesse is right here.
I will also say that when you took the walking stick, you had the surprise of finding out that it is a sword cane that you can twist the head off. And
this is the best day of my life. Emrys will hold the walking stick and will kind of tap to where the damage is, just to kind of draw the coal seller's attention there and say, well, lucky for you, we do have specifics. We're trying to find information about somebody who was murdered here, probably in the last 2 days or so.
You're gonna have to be more specific than that, lad. Murders occur all the time around here.
How did the damage happen to this cart?
It's nothing. Just there are two fellows here. Last night they were sort of having some sort of an argument, and well, as they came into the alley, they sort of got a little rough with each other, and one of them pushed the other, and he upended the cart and he hit, and it fell on the side, and the coal just fell everywhere and rolled all over the place, and they broke the handle here. But it's fine. I got it fixed. It's not the first time that someone bumps into old Mr. Norris or his cart. These things happen.
What happened to the two after they fell?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
How do you know what happened?
Someone told me. Someone saw them from the street. I came here, the cart was on its side, the handle was broken. I had to pick it up now, didn't I? And I had to fix it now, didn't I?
Do you know who saw it?
Just some of the locals.
I'm going to pull out my knife.
Oh, hey there, lad.
Do you have any useful information that you can give us?
I don't know. The two of you can make a vigilance roll.
That is 2 successes for me.
1 success for me.
You both certainly feel that he's definitely kind of hiding something. I will say both of you get that feeling. You get the feeling he's not lying. He didn't see the action. He wasn't here. I'll say, Adrian, that you kind of detect that he's probably an opium user, and so might have been off, taking a Kit Kat break, a Victorian Kit Kat break. I will say with the extra success you get, Emrys, you get the feeling he's hiding something else. And you get the feeling there's maybe something in his pocket because he's kind of like protecting it and kind of turning away from it. Kind of a good mark for pilfering is someone who's being kind of very careful about a specific pocket. So you kind of get the feeling there's maybe something about it there.
What do you
Yes.
got there, friend?
Oh, what were you talking about? Look, you're interfering with business here. I run a mercantile concern here. I'm not just taking the air like you folks. There's people that want the coal, and you're messing with my business. And you turn around. Of course, there's no one around there.
This is he's on the dead end side of it, like.
No, he's at the entrance near the main walkway. So it's like a T, right, with the main kind of walkway. So there's like a main alley that exits on two main streets, and then this alley kind of goes in like this, and then at the end there's the little the little alcoves. But he's kind of like just here on the corner, like just inside the alley, but near the main alley that goes towards the two main streets. There's people walking on the main streets, but there's no one that you can see in the alley.
I am going to stop leaning on the cane and hold it kind of the way you would if you needed to swing on somebody. And I will look to the Marquesse and I will say, feel free to try your hand at convincing him. And I'm going to circle around so that he is now between the two of us.
Marquesse, we'll look at the proprietor of the coal. Was it Norman? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Mr. Norris. Mr. Norris.
Norris. My apologies.
It's all right.
As I said before, let me give you something to warm your bones. And... You know the routine, right? You put your head down, you take a drink, you toast down and drink.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. Go.
Thanks. He's kind of trying to keep an eye on.
And then I'm looking for something to bump it on. Do you like the table or your stall? It's like, well, you got to do it right, and basically like waiting for him to kind of take a drink. I mean, it's not poison or anything. It's just whiskey.
Thank you, Winnie.
Oh, you got to bump it first. You gotta bring it down.
Freaking nobles and their rules and regulations. Just take a drink and peace.
You gotta bring it down. You gotta bring it down.
15-step fucking process to just take a shot of whiskey. Damn it! No wonder the fucking country's going to the shits.
And as he goes down to drink, he's gonna take the back of his head and slam it on just boom.
Gonk. You hit him and he falls down. He hits the handle he just repaired. It breaks. The card just crushed on the side. Stuff goes spilling all over. Being a man of technology, you realize his problem is that one of his wheels is smaller than the other, so the cart is always kind of in balance. That's why it's always so. You notice that as this is happening. But the cart falls over. The coal sort spreads everywhere. The coal dust goes up. Both of you are like.
Marquesse will pick up some coal and place it into his mouth, and then Biz like, if you're not gonna talk, then you might as well choke. And just look at like his eyes as they are wide, staring teary-eyed back at me, and as I'm just kind of shoving the coal in his mouth, he goes, "Are you ready to talk?"
Oh, I'm interested in what Emrys is doing with all this.
Emrys looks surprised and impressed. I am looking out to the street to see if anybody is paying any attention.
No one. I mean, sounds of violence. No one would care.
Cool. That is exactly what Emrys wants.
Yeah, he's looking at. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I am just moving into his line of sight, just kind of twirling the knife in my hands, but pointedly showing him that I will not intervene.
All right, I'll take the coal out of his mouth. I'll just kind of keep it like I'm on my knee now and just like having my other knee like on his shoulder, like, I could, but that look like I could kill you right now and no one would know. No one would care, really. But
I beg you, sir, please, don't hurt old Mr. Norris. I'm just trying to make a living, just trying to get by like the other folks around here. I'm sorry I offended you, your lordship. I certainly didn't mean to.
He'll look down. Is he still kind of like heading himself? Like
no. At this point, he's got like kind of his arms splayed out, and he's kind of just trying to protect himself. He's afraid you're going to hit him, basically.
Do you have a bill of sale for the last 2 days?
What's that?
Do you keep records of everyone you sold coal to? Do you write them down?
No.
I told.
He
Emrys would say
looks
this
at
very
you like you're
seriously.
nuts. He's like,
That's some business.
Emrys would just say, I told you he was useless, but I'm going to go rifle through that pocket. Whatever that man is
hey,
hiding in his
get your-
pocket.
get your hand out. You go in, you pilfer, and you grab a couple of things. One, you grab a piece of cloth, and inside of it, you feel something hard and round.
It's in his pocket.
I'm gonna take it out, but I'm gonna try to keep it to myself and not show the Marquesse what it is.
All right, so I'm gonna say it's kind of hard because you're both kind of there, but I will definitely let you go ahead and you can make a stealth roll, and Marquesse, you can go ahead and make a vigilance roll. And I will say this: I will say that normally, oh no, I'll let you use your talent for sure. +2 stealth when trying to hide yourself or an object from a wealthy human, so we'll let you have that bonus. But because you are so close to each other and sort of in the same, I will give a similar bonus to the Marquesse. So I'll also give a
Okay.
+2 to the Marquesse.
Okay, yeah, that feels fair.
Okay.
I have 3 successes.
3 successes.
Oh man.
Okay, so I will say this. I will say that Marquesse, you saw Emrys put his hands in the pocket and kind of rummage around, but when it comes out, it seems empty. But you definitely saw him go in there and feel around. And when it came out, it was just kind of quick, and so you didn't see exactly if he had something or not. But Emrys, you have the stuff. So what do you put in your pocket, or what are you going to try to do?
I'm just gonna put it in my pocket for now.
Okay. Get out of here! I don't have a lot, please. Just leave me alone. I don't know anything. I'm just trying to sell some coal. One day, people are going to stop burning coal. There's already all this gas, and they're talking about electricity, and one day I won't even be able to sell coal anymore. What will Mr. Norris do then? I'm just trying to get by.
He will help him up. Help the poor man up.
Very kind, your lordship. Thank you.
Pardon my temper.
No, that's all right.
It's just that the altercation that happened. We're trying to find one of the people that was hurt, and so forgive me if I get too emotional about it. You know,
I know
days,
they
crime
found
and
someone. They found someone in the alley, but I just didn't see anything of it, sir. Could I perhaps bother you for a shilling to help repair my cart here, your lordship, if it's not asking too much? Hey, Wily Abed, thank you for joining us.
Sure. And as he goes into like his pocket, he will take a quick glance at him again, stare at him straight into his eyes, looking into like his soul. And as he waits there a moment, he goes, "Do you have the time? You know what time it is?"
Well, I know Big Ben rang 11 a little while ago, so I would say maybe 11:30.
He was just continuing to stare for like an awkward moment. Okay, and then he'll.
I will say this. Give me a vigilance roll.
One success.
All right. You did notice that when you asked about the time, he kind of had a reflex to go for his pocket, but then he kind of hid it by like, kind of stretching and kind of like, oh my, and then he.
And was he reaching towards the same pocket?
Yeah.
The Marquesse will hand him 3 shillings.
Oh, your lordship is very gracious. I really appreciate it, sir. You can come back and beat me up anytime.
I will. Till next time.
Oh, damn it! He puts the shilling. Am I dismissed, sir? Can I pick myself up here?
Yes.
The rush, the
course.
coal rush is about to start. There's no one around.
Oh, I'm sure there's a whole line of people. Pardon. 1 was, for the inconvenience. 2 was for the mess. I apologize. And just make sure we would never hear. Right?
Absolutely, sir. Have yourselves a good evening now, you and your son.
Come, son.
Emrys looks furious.
Meanwhile, Lillian, you are investigating that little kind of garden-y area. There's an old statue there.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and there's some wreaths and some flowers. It looks like maybe people come here once in a while and in remembrance of something or other. But as you kind of inspect that, you notice that there is, in fact, at the center of this alley, kind of like another little alcove that goes in. And you can see the glow of a fire that's kind of around the corner maybe, and you can kind of see it playing like a very, very small fire. You can kind of just see the glow playing a little bit on one of the walls. As you take a look at it, you notice just on the inside of the wall, which is completely in shadow, which is why you totally would have missed it just kind of walking by on the other side, especially because it's night and all that. There is a drawing on the wall, and it looks like a pair of red wings. And it's very crudely done and kind of very small, but you can definitely see it.
Just gonna step closer to see if there's any writing with it, but she's got her notebook out and it is doing a quick sketch of the wings. She's also being cautious of where the fire is coming from because she's assuming someone is tucked back there.
Yeah, there's definitely, you can sort of hear the sounds of someone living there, like probably a homeless person or something, and there's kind of a little bit of fire going on. When you approach this mark, I would say give me a medical check. Do you have medical?
Well, let's find out. Do I have medical? I don't. Wait. No, but I have 3 in precision. So,
right. So go ahead and roll me 3 in precision. Yep.
Nada.
De nada. So it's like the red. It's not ink. It's kind of dry powder. And when you touch it, it kind of falls apart a little bit. There are no other symbols or anything else around there.
Interesting. She's kind of going to step slightly into the alcove and just kind of crane her head to see who is back there.
You see a little tent, a little makeshift tent that's kind of been pitched. It's a very tiny little coal fire. Like there's a small metal bowl or something, and like 3 pieces of coal that are burning in there. There's a little dog that's kind of sleeping on its side that kind of just lifts up its head when you come by. And there's an Asian man there sitting on a kind of a strange little camping stool with his legs crossed. He's got a little bowler hat on, very dirty clothes. His face is dirty and whatnot. And he's got a can of what smells like maybe beans or something that he's opened up the top and he's eating out of with like just this little stick. And when you come around the corner, he kind of looks up and stops and just stares at you.
Good evening. Sorry to interrupt. I was wondering if you might be able to help me.
He says something. Does your character speak Mandarin?
No.
Okay, he says
Sadly,
something
no.
in a language you don't understand.
Hmm.
You're probably smart enough to kind of guess that he's saying, "I don't speak English."
My apologies.
He lifts up his
Probably can't
beans, his
read
can
it.
of beans, and offers them to you.
No. Oh, no, thank you. Did you see anyone? And she kind of points to the drawing of the wings.
He puts the can down and he opens his shirt and he pulls out a crucifix. He's got like a crucifix basically. He's what's up, you know, that Christian
rosary?
a rosary. That's the thing.
Yep. Catholic school.
He's got a rosary. And he points at that, and he recites in perfect English a passage from the Bible that has zero sense or connection to anything that's going on, like the Lord's Prayer maybe or something. It's clear he's learned it by rote. He doesn't really speak language, but he recites it and he looks to you very expectantly. He rummages around and he pulls out from an oilcloth thing. He opens it up and he comes over to you and he's got like a book in his hand. And as he approaches, you can see it's an old Bible. It's like super old, weather stained. He opens it up and it's in Mandarin. Is Mandarin the written Chinese language? That's it. And he kind of opens it and he flips through it and he kind of shows you a passage and you assume that it's what he just recited. And then he kind of flips around again and he shows you another passage and then he points at the wings.
Are the numbers in Mandarin as well? Is it all?
No, I would say they're Roman numerals.
Okay. She's jotting down the Roman numerals, and if she can, also the page numbers, since maybe she can kind of.
Well, the page number are probably not going to help you,
gotcha.
because the language is so different written. But the numbers of the the different sections, the verses, and all that would be the same. So those would be in Roman numerals.
Yeah. She's going to do it like a kind of rudimentary sketch of a man and a woman in her notebook. And she's going to point to the wings and just kind of gesture as if like trying to indicate man or woman.
And he'll point at the male.
And she'll just draw a second male next to the first one and just kind of, were there two?
He says something, but nods.
She doesn't think she'll be able to get much more out of him with the language barrier. Carrying. Fighting. She'll draw a knife next to one of the men.
And he goes around and he starts rummaging around and he comes at you, turns around, and he's got this sort of cleaver that's serrated. And he kind of turns around, but he's got like this like happy look on his face, not like I'm gonna kill you now. He's like, and he's yammering and the entire time, like he's talking like I'm not doing it because I'm not gonna start trying to mimic, but
yeah, of course.
He's constantly very excitedly kind of talking in Mandarin too, like you understand, it sounds like so anyways, like very conversational. He's just sort of very happy to just be talking to someone.
She just kind of gestures to notebook like that's the same knife from the man.
And I'll show it to you. You notice that the blade is inscribed with celestial script.
She will take out several shillings and offer them in exchange for the cleaver.
He's
10
talking at you.
shillings.
He pushes your hand away like you get the feeling money's not what he wants. And he goes back to his can, he comes back, and he shows you the piece of wood that he's using to eat his things. And like he's like,
A spoon.
you can see it's really hard to pick up the beans with a
Oh.
spoon.
I can get you a spoon. You're gonna get a spoon at this time of night.
He gives you the knife. Like,
Oh.
come back, you know.
She'll just be like, I will come back. Thank you.
God save the queen. I would be the king
God
at
save
that
the
point.
queen.
No, it would be the queen, Victoria.
God
Queen.
save the king.
God save the
She lived
queen.
a long time.
Yeah, he says that.
God save the queen.
God save the queen.
Took a little wave to the dog and just kind of go back out.
The dog kind of gets
and
up his head, looks at you, and then goes back down.
Little scratch. And she goes and finds the doctor and she says, don't be alarmed. I think I found one of the murder weapons. Also, can you check that drawing of angel wings? I think it might be blood.
Of course, show me where it is.
And she'll show him. She's like, there's a gentleman back there. He can't speak English. I communicated as best I can. Do you happen? No. I'll need to give him a spoon in exchange.
I would say at this point that Emrys and the Marquesse are coming back.
She kind of takes a moment to study what the script is. So I believe that's a empathy inspiration roll.
Please. So what's everyone? So you're all there. The doctor's going to go check the wings. Who's got the knife? Who's doing what? You're looking at the knife for the inscriptions on them. What are Emrys and the Marquesse doing?
Before we get back over there, Emrys is going to look at the Marquesse, look down at the coal cellar, and say, I can't believe Sherlock had the audacity to call you harmless.
Did he now?
And I will pull out the dossier and just press it against the Marquesse's chest and keep walking. And I'm going to pull out whatever was wrapped in the cloth if the Marquesse lets me walk away.
He will stand in like surprise shock, just holding on to the dossier as listening to you leave, kind of like, I'm gonna kill York.
Oh no.
York's going crazy right now looking for it. He's like, all right, so you're going to take a look at what you got in the thing,
Yes.
and the Marquesse is holding it. Okay, so let's start with Dr. Ellis. You roll me a medicine check, Dr. Ellis. Stephanie, what did you
I
get
would
on
love
your
to.
seraphic?
Just one success.
So that's good enough. One success. You read the runes. Are empowering runes probably done to empower the weapon to do damage to a creature that would be resistant to damage. The knife itself is covered in dried blood, and it's very peculiar. Like, you're not quite sure you've ever seen this kind of metal before. And it's weird because the handle is super refined and really kind of nice and well done, and then the top, the fat part of the blade is really kind of nice and clean, and then as it comes down, it just becomes this ugly serrated cleaver thing. The metal is kind of a strange color, something you've never seen before. It's kind of like looking, like when you look at a puddle of oil in water, like that kind of rainbow sheen.
But like iridescent sheen.
Yeah, that's kind of what that metal looks like.
In my research, have I come across any terms for any types of metals associated
you can
with
certainly
heavenly
go ahead
beings?
and give me an occult roll. Meanwhile, Dr. Ellis. Hey, Ty. Thanks for coming in. 2 successes. It is definitely blood. You would say it is, several weeks old. Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. And there
It
had
falls
been no
apart as
other.
soon as you touch it, and you realize that because of kind of a little overhang, this thing is protected from the rain, it doesn't get rain and so on. That's why it's kind of stayed there so long. But it's definitely kind of really falling apart super easy.
Does it look like the rest of the blood that I've seen, either from the body or puddled in that
No.
alcove?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
2 successes.
There is a metal, an alloy called orichalcum, which is often mentioned in occult texts as being a metal that reacts well to magics and powers and things like that.
Fascinating. Sure. Let's file that away for later and just hang on to the cleaver.
Give me an investigation check while you're at it. And Emrys, you pull out what you got out of the pocket of the young man, and the cloth is this filthy, snot-covered rag that's just moist. Inside of it is a pocket watch.
I'm sorry.
Was that too much?
Brain's got to catch it. It was gross.
Yeah.
I will toss the rag because I don't want to deal with that anymore. And I'm going to look around it, see if there's any engraving, see if there's anything that indicates a watchmaker, anything like. I'm assuming that there's no chain on this watch.
There's no chain, but there's the remnants of a chain. It's been broken.
Okay.
In the post-credit scene, we'll see Mr. Norris come back and pick up his rag, go, "Oh, there you are," and put it back in his pocket and go back to.
Good for him.
The watch outside looks kind of unremarkable. There's 0 inscriptions, nothing. You can not hear a ticking.
Okay. Can I open it?
Yeah, you can open it. When you open it, you suddenly find yourself, actually, before we get to that, you open it up and you see a couple things inside. One, you see a small piece of paper that has been folded over several times. There is on the inside, on one side, the portrait of a woman that is kind of crudely pasted on the inside. And you also notice that there's no watch face. There's almost kind of like some sort of gear mechanism, but there's no numbers, there's no plate, there's no watch arms. It's just this weird kind of gear mechanical contraption. You see the woman, and I will shortly here provide a portrait of the woman, but as you see this portrait of this woman, Marquesse, whoever is kind of nearby, you hear Emrys perhaps sort of cry out a little bit. The watch falls from your hand and you kind of fall to your knees again. You see the woman that's in the picture, Emrys. You see this woman kneeling in prayer somewhere in a strange sort of place. It looks very dark. There are no windows. This woman is kneeling there praying. You suddenly see an image of the statue at Charing Cross. You see, you get the smell of blood hitting your nostrils, and then that voice that you've heard before that now takes on a feminine quality as it coalesces and a lot of the extra voices start to fall away, says in Latin, "Verum ostende facem tuam."
Am I still in it?
The lot of you find Emrys lying on the ground, slowly sort of coming to. You come to, and the doctor, I guess, again, is by your side, sort of
Of course. I have
taking
to make
As
sure
am
he's
I.
okay.
I will
Emrys.
find the watch and put my hand on his shoulder. Just seeing if he's okay.
I will look up at Dr. Ellis and say, we have to stop meeting like this, and slowly try to get myself to sit up, looking for the fucking watch that the
such
Marquesse
language.
took.
Such language.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
It's perfectly fine.
And I will once again say what I heard, because I don't know Latin. I'm not educated. I can barely fucking read.
On the map, if you want, I have placed the image that you see inside the watch and a picture of the watch.
What did I hear in Latin? What can I tell them that I heard?
You need to roll for that?
Ferum no. Ferum ostende. Facem tuam. It means show your true face.
Show your
Show
true
your
face.
true face.
You got the feeling that it was both directed at you, Emrys, and at somebody else.
I don't like that. Yeah, I will share with the group. And I will does the Marquesse show me that he took the watch?
Yes, and as he will actually hand you back the watch, and as he hands it back to you, when exactly did you get the vision and places it back into your hand?
Does anything happen when I touch it again?
No, when you touch it again, you kind of hear distantly the same voices and sounds, and you get a faint smell of blood, but it seems to kind of be dissipating.
Okay. I kind of flinch when you put the watch back in my hand.
He's just examining, just watching your eyes.
When I unwrapped it from whatever awful rag that is, and
I'm
opened
sorry,
it.
I just want to say that you, as you're thinking back on it, and as you're looking at the watch again, the picture of a woman is familiar to you, like someone maybe you knew at some point, but you couldn't place a name or anything, but the port is different, and it's definitely when you saw the picture that the vision came onto you.
Oh, okay. When I saw the picture, and as I'm looking down at it, I'm going to start unfolding that paper. I think Emrys is he's going to be super easy to get information out of because he is super out of it right now. So have at it.
Do you recognize the woman?
Maybe at some point. I don't know a name. Maybe something in Charing Cross. I saw a statue.
When you
sorry. Nope, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when did you unfold the paper?
Yes.
Okay, you can finish what you were saying. I'm sorry, I should have interrupted.
That's it. No, that's okay. She might be dead. There was blood again.
As you unfold the paper, and also because you handled the watch, Marquesse, if you want to give me a technophile roll, please. Inside the paper is a little poem. It reads, "Erect a rich and stately carved cross, whereon her statue shall with glory shine, and henceforth see you call it Charing Cross." And then in a different hand, kind of on the back of the paper, is scrawled the word Jerusalem.
I got 1 success.
The watch, of course, is not a normal watch, Marquesse. It doesn't tell time. There's a strange mechanism inside that seems to click and turn like a normal watch, but it doesn't make sound. It looks to you incomplete.
Is it
Like there's not incomplete like the hands and whatever of the watch are missing, but literally like you would need something else to make it do what it's supposed to do.
watches are usually just a elaborate series of gears? Does it look like something that places like on top, or is it kind of like a key?
So
Or is it like
the side that if you look at the picture, the part of the watch where you would expect the gears to be in actually feels like it's sealed shut. Like there would be no way for you to go inside there, and there are just a few little gears and mechanisms on top, but you see no way. Like it's almost as if it was made in one piece. You see no way that someone might open this and get at the gears inside.
Is there anything on the watch or what this thing looks like a watch where it's supposed to go into something else, like any hole on the bottom?
Yeah, so there's a little pin. So the hinge you see of the door, usually a pocket watch opens like only partially. But here you realize that if you pull on it, it will open all the way. And then the center part of the watch is like a little pin that comes out and it's got little gears around it. So it's almost like you would put something on it or press it against something or whatever. Honestly, the word that comes to mind is key.
Very interesting.
Are you going to share with the class?
Yeah, he will like do it like a show and tell. He will show it like he's got the one ring and you're like, oh, show it to everyone. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. And then hand it back to Emrys.
Just one last thing before you all start chatting. Lillian, you were giving me an investigation roll. What did you get?
I got 1.
The handle, as you look at it, like you would hold a knife, like this, and so here is stamped with like the maker symbol. You don't recognize it, but
would anyone happen to know what whose maker's mark this is?
Go ahead,
we need
my
to
dear
roll for this?
Marquesse. That would be a technophile roll.
No idea.
No idea whatsoever. Do you want to push the roll?
Yes.
So when you push the roll, you get to reroll all your failures, but you will take a condition.
Nothing that a little opiate. One success.
One success. The mark is of a very so it's a company called as I look at my notes because I can't find it, Blackfriars Metalworks. You know that this is not like a company that most people go to. It's not a company that's well known. You've heard of it because rich people get stuff made there at really high cost. They work in strange metals, strange alloys. They make very bespoke items. And it's certainly not the kind of like, the richest people in town have cutlery sets made by these guys kind of thing. But it's not like they got a shop that Mr. Norris can walk into and buy anything,
Gotcha. And I'm assuming these things are usually commissioned.
Yep.
Very expensive. Worth lots of money.
Absolutely. And it's a shop. The metal shop is in Ludgate Hill.
Ludgate Hill. Well, I will convey all this information and look very admirably at that symbol and that cleaver knife thingy. And where did you get this?
There's a gentleman, a Chinese gentleman in the alley with a little dog. He doesn't speak English, but he indicated that he found this here. So it seems
He must
strange.
have found it. There is no way that anyone here could afford such a thing.
Yeah, I gathered they wouldn't have much spending money for something so.
And he let you part with this?
fancy. Oh, he requested that I bring him a spoon in exchange.
Spoon?
He doesn't have utensils. I offered him shillings. He preferred a spoon. I'll have to make a return trip.
Would I know if they have a spoon in the opium den?
They very likely have a spoon in the opium den.
Can I go and get a spoon for this person?
You can absolutely go and get a spoon for this person, and you will either steal it or barter for it or something. You will have no problems. You will come back with a not too used up spoon.
I'm going to say that I had to buy it, and I'm going to ask for the shillings from Lillian.
Very well.
I'm going to go give the spoon and the shillings to this person.
When you approach, he's just sort of lie down with his little dog, and your dog comes in and they kind of look at each other. You know, kind of just staring at each other like not too sure, sort of friend or foe kind of thing.
Lillian kind of followed behind and just peeped her head behind Emrys and just waved to indicate, it's okay, it's okay.
The man was kind of lying down. He's got like a little blanket over himself. It looks like he was about to lie down sort of for the night or something. And he looks up and goes, God save the king.
Something like that. And I'm going to hold the stuff out and put it in his hands.
You know, super happy, very, very grateful, you know. He's looking at it like you've just given him, like, you know, a new lease on life. He's got a spoon. He very proudly reaches into his pocket, takes out the old stick that he had that he'd been using to eat with, and flicks it into the flames. And then
I'll clap.
Cleans it. God save the king.
Now we'll head back to the group.
So, the lot of you standing there, there's a slight drizzle that begins to fall on your heads. You have found a couple of different things. Just before you start talking about all of them, I'll just recap them for you. You have found the knife, which has celestial script on it with empowering runes. There is a symbol of Blackfriars Metalworks, a very bespoke metal shop. The knife is made of a strange alloy of metal that you've not necessarily seen before. The cool vendor had a watch that you've looked at. There's a picture inside of a woman that you saw, as well as a piece of paper with the words erect a rich and stately carved cross, where on a statue shell with glory shine and henceforth see you call it Charing's Cross, which is a very well-known poem about the Queen's statue that's in Charing Cross. Charing Cross, for those of you who don't know, is an area in London where 6 of the major roads kind of converge. There's a major train station there. And it's kind of the de facto center of town, almost. And the words Jerusalem written in a different hand on the back of the piece of paper.
Henry the Marquesse, he will approach Lillian. May I hold on to the knife? I run in certain circles that does a lot of business with this artisan, and I might be able to get in if I have this in my possession.
I was just thinking, I've heard talk of some of the circles, Marquesse. I think you would be the best person to track down this particular lead.
You need time to write down the runes for your own research. I don't want to deprive you of that.
Already got it.
All right.
I appreciate it. If I need to look at it again, I will ask you.
For sure.
So we have a watch, a knife, a body that's been drugged, a very traumatized coal cellar, man with a spoon.
I think we can eliminate the man with the spoon.
I
But
think
we
so
do
too.
have that occult shop that was Dwale, I believe? Dwale? The anesthetic was sold at.
Yes.
Dr. Ellis, you mentioned it was Dwale. Yes, Dr. Ellis, you mentioned it would be difficult to find that.
It would be difficult to find the ingredients to make it, and most people do not believe it actually exists. But I suppose that would be a decent place to start. I am curious about the fact that we have 2 items presumably left here that both indicate an access to wealth that the majority of people here do not have.
And
I wonder about them being
disregard.
left, and I wonder about who their owner is.
The best way to find out may be to figure out. I would hope that the occultist shop may actually have a what did you call it? And I'm looking to the Marquesse about the, I don't even remember what you called it, that keeps track of purchases.
A ledger?
And sales. A ledger.
Lillian just kind of feels
Bill of sales, yeah. I would hope that the occult shop maybe has a bill of sales, and that could tie to
cross-reference for when the Marquesse investigates Blackfriars.
That would be helpful because this was clearly premeditated.
Oh, yes.
Beyond what we already knew. The victim was brought here. And
Were
that
they
means...
brought here and drugged with the opium, or given opium and then drugged here?
I believe they were brought here to smoke the opium, which had already been drugged, which speaks to a level of familiarity or coercion.
That drawing of those wings, was that around the same time frame?
No, that was several weeks ago, which concerns me.
I wonder if the killer has marked all of his intended locations with similar wings.
I think
If he's that thorough of a planner.
I think that's probably likely. I at least saw red wings in the first vision that I had with the body.
How many visions have you had before? Have you just started having them, or is this something that's always been a talent of yours?
Talent is a bold word, but these are not the first that I've had.
And in these visions, so to speak, have you determined if these visions are past or future, as far as you know?
Based on, and I believe that this would be consistent, Bleak, across all of them, but let me know if I'm wrong, but based on at least the 2, they would have happened in the past. I think I am seeing these murders after they have happened.
I see.
Which is not much help in getting us to stop this person, but the poem said 7 were to die, the 7 of something,
yes.
So
yes.
Hopefully...
Blood of 7 gods chosen to be spilled for the Dark Angel to rise.
Hopefully we can get a lead that lets us get ahead.
If your visions have been about the past, I have not had another body like this come across my table, but let's hope we have at least 7 more to go.
As you are heading back towards the hansom cab of the Marquesse in hopes of heading out to Mr. Fancy's Curiosities, you arrive to find York having basically pulled apart the hansom. He's got the seats are out. Anything that was inside is kind of laid out neatly. on the sidewalk. People are kind of just standing around, staring at him. He's kind of shooing some people away from the stuff, but and he looks in the fright. His hair is kind of standing up like he's been, and he sees you, kind of like, sir, and he comes over to you. I am dreadfully sorry, sir. I unfortunately must confess that. He looks around and leans in. I appear to have lost the documents you entrusted to me, sir. It is entirely my fault. I will accept any punishment you shall deem to be righteous. I have failed you, sir. I have failed you like never before in my life. Words fail me. Words fail me. Worse than my failure to you, sir. You should forthwith banish me. Send me away. You might, in fact, even put me on one of those boats heading for one of those strange foreign places like Australia or Canada, some place that I will never be able to return from. My life is yours to do with as you please, sir. And he drops to one knee and presents his neck as if you were going to chop it off.
The Marquesse will look down upon him, stare at the top of his head, and kind of stand there in silence. Get up, Mr. York. Help him up.
He stands up. I have failed you most thoroughly, sir.
You have not failed me in the least. And he will put his arm around Mr. York and take the dossier and place it inside his coat.
Of Mr. York? You put it inside Mr. York's coat?
Yes. And he'll tap his chest to be like, guard this with your life. Place it in the safe in my house. And everyone deserves a second chance. This wasn't your fault. And he kind of peers around. We have people who are very, very quick and nimble-fingered, so guard this with your life.
I shall be on the lookout, sir, and you are most gracious for giving me this further chance. I will not fail you again, and I will keep a sharp eye out.
You hold my life in your hands.
It is a burden of incredible glory.
I have the utmost trust in you.
Too kind, sir, too kind. Let me put the cap back in working order. Shan't take but a minute.
Please.
He goes back and puts that all. Hi, Myriad. Thank you for dropping in, Myriad. Myriad is absolutely awesome. She was in my vampire game recently, as was Mornian also. We had a great time with that. Do give them a little follow. Fantastic people, and perhaps see them on this channel again sometime soon. He puts the handsome cat back together. A lot of you sort of hang out and wait a little bit, perhaps share a little drink from the Marquesse's little flask. Eventually, soon enough, you are on your way, heading to Mr. Fancy's Curiosities, nestled inconspicuously between the grandiose facades of neighboring buildings. There lies a small, enigmatic shop known as Mr. Fancy's Curiosities. There are no lights on inside, and a hand-painted sign on the door reads closed. It is almost midnight at this point. As you step inside this unassuming establishment, a wave of antique aroma envelops you, a scent that's a curious mix of old leather, ancient paper, and perhaps a hint of incense. Dimly lit by flickering gas lamps that cast eerie shadows on the ornate wooden shelves, the interior of Mr. Fancy's Curiosities exudes an atmosphere of mystique and wonder. The walls are lined with shelves that sag under the weight of curious objects from ages past. Old leather-bound books with cracked spines and faded titles jostle for space with dusty, age-worn tomes filled with cryptic symbols and arcane incantations. In the center of the room, a glass display case showcases a mesmerizing array of occult artifacts. There are crystal balls that seem to hold secrets of the cosmos, amulets etched with symbols of protection, and ancient scrolls adorned with enigmatic scripts. A stuffed raven perches atop an antique oak cabinet, its glass eyes glinting with a mischievous intelligence. You hear the halting sounds of a record skipping, coming from a gramophone tucked in one corner. Dust motes dance in the beams of light that filter through moth-eaten curtains, lending an almost ethereal quality to the surroundings. Then, the unmistakable scent of blood and decay wafts over you. My friends, what do you do?
Beginning to understand why the door was unlocked.
Doctor, I think you should probably proceed, sir.
I suppose I should. And I'm going to see if I can follow the scent to where the blood is.
Give me the vigilance roll. What is everybody else doing meanwhile? Emrys, what are you doing?
I just saw JD's comment in chat, and I was going to steal a raven, but I guess not. I would like to follow the doctor. Actually, I want to go into the shop. I want to see if there's like a back room or something. And if there is, then I would like to go and explore it.
Okay, well, it's interesting since you're already heading in that direction following the doctor. Unless the doctor flubbed his roll. And the doctor's sent the nose, and he's definitely on his way towards a back room. We'll talk about that in a second. What is Lillian up to?
Lillian, given that they're heading in the direction of the blood, is going to duck behind the counter and root around for that ledger and any other notes of business and sale that might, or acquisition that might be back there.
Excellent. And who is the Marquesse going to assault?
He is going to assault the door, and he's going to close it behind us. I'll look to see if it was broken into, was it unlocked? Just check the door, and if the door is undamaged, then he will lock it behind us, so nobody.
You find it undamaged, and you are able easily to lock it. Street outside's very quiet. So I wanted to remind you before we got into this, and I forgot. You do have two tokens, right? You have the Dr. Watson token and the Inspector Lestrade token that you can play. And if you invoke the Dr. Watson token, you can ask questions and get ideas about clues or just further clarifications, things of that nature. And you can invoke the Inspector Lestrade token to get assistance from the police. So it could be getting into a place or getting you out of trouble or even sending reinforcements and so on and so forth. So I wanted to remind you when we came back from break, and I forgot because as you turn around the corner, Lillian, to go see for the ledger, you see a dead body lying on the ground in front of you. Looks like an older gentleman. There's no blood that you can see lying there. It's got an old coat. There's a little top hat that's kind of rolled away on the floor behind.
Just gonna check his wrist for a pulse, but also if he's cold, he's definitely dead.
He's definitely cold, definitely several days. There's no blood. And there's something strange. His legs are bent in a strange angle. Both of them. Almost like they might be like the hind quarter legs of a goat or something like that.
Lillian is going back to all her studies and is just like goat, demonic, satyr, Roman, Greek, just filing through there like, oh dear. She's just kind of gonna cautiously lift a pant leg just to be like, maybe it's just a birth defect.
There is no fur or anything like that. The leg sort of appears to be up until just below the knee, a fairly normal leg. You see some varicose veins, the whole 9 yards. But then the skin takes on a slightly darker color and it bends backwards. And at the bottom of it, there are shoes you now realize that have busted apart at the seams as the foot seems to have transformed into a hoof.
Did you find the ledger?
No. No, I found a corpse with some very strange legs.
Corpse. Walk around. Oh shit! Oh, God, you're very calm.
It's well, there's already the scent of blood. I was expecting one back there. Wasn't expecting one here. She just kind of takes a moment, just deep breath, and then it's just like, oh, mistake.
What is back there? Let us, in this moment, since this is happening at the same time, you see back there's a sort of curtain, like a bead curtain, that sort of leads into a back room. As you're approaching it, the scent of blood and decay is getting much stronger. And as you get to the curtain, you have no illusions about what you're about to find on the other side, Doctor.
I'm going to turn to Emrys and just say, we've already seen a lot of horrific things tonight. This may not be something you wish to see.
I've seen overkill before, Doctor. I think I'll be okay. And Emrys is holding hard eye contact when he says that.
If you're sure.
I will push past the doctor and go through.
You push past the doctor and go through. Do you follow the doctor?
I do.
Would the two of you give me a logic plus vigilance roll, please? You do each have an advantage. Just, again, I'm not saying this because of this roll. It's just I keep wanting to remind you and I forget.
Funsies, 2 successes.
Both of you managed to hold on to a sudden and overwhelming, it's not fear, but you're definitely disturbed as you walk into this room and see what you see, and almost enough that it makes you almost want to turn around and leave. But you managed to sort of clamp down on that. You, Dr. Ellis, felt something else stir in you in the moment when this, and you really had to kind of buckle down. To the best of your estimation, Dr. Ellis, what you're seeing are the remnants of 3 bodies. They are in a state very similar to the first victim that you saw. They are naked. They have bloodied stumps on their back where something seems to have been removed. But they are now in a state of decomposition. They have been dead for a little while, you would say certainly several days. The stench is coming from that. The blood has completely dried and faded into and stained the wooden floor beneath them. It is just a scene of carnage and butchery. The bodies stacked on top of one another with very little care. Definitely you see signs of some sort of struggle having gone on. You'll have to make some investigations to find out more, but this is what you see in the moment. I would ask everyone to give me another vigilance plus logic roll. This is around the time when you hear the Marquesse in the front room going, "Oh my God, what is that? That's a body, you're so calm."
That is no successes for me.
So everyone except Emrys, at that moment, as soon as the Marquesse exclaims this and the sound falls back, you hear a distinct thump come from upstairs.
Like there's a second story?
Yeah,
or...
yeah.
Oh no.
Let's do it. It's evidence. I'm running in. Let's go to the stairs. Let's go.
You run into the back room, Marquesse. You see these dead bodies piled on top of one another, butchered. The stench hits you full face. Give me a logic plus vigilance just to see if you manage to. And Lillian, what are you doing? Are you staying where you are? Are you...
For the moment, she's going back to the task of trying to find some fucking records because she's like, this is gonna probably go back really fast.
So yeah, so go ahead and you can make me an
And the
investigation
Marquesse
roll.
seems to have the Marquesse seems to have more experience with fisticuffs, and probably so does Emrys, and the doctor is a question mark, but
Yeah,
she's gonna
It's gonna say so. Do give me an investigation roll. The three of you in the back room see that there is a straight ladder that goes up, and in the ceiling there is like a trap door that is open. What do you do? Thanks.
How tall? How far up is it?
It's like another floor up.
Okay. I'll slowly start to climb and kind of like peer through. And
Emrys, you didn't hear anything, so you're like, what's Dr. Ellis doing?
I think similarly with Lillian's logic, he's recognizing there is a chance that things are going to go badly in a lot of ways very soon. And he wants to investigate as long as he can. And so he is basically going straight to the task of what information can I glean about what happened here. I'll deal with everything else when I have to.
Emrys, your friend, your little canine friend, the hackles are rising, and he's staring at the ladder that the Marquesse is going up. What would you like to do? It looks like the doctor's about to start investigating the scene. You haven't seen Lillian, and the Marquesse is climbing up.
I'm gonna look between Dr. Ellis and the Marquesse, Henry and Henry, and I'm gonna trust that the Marquesse has it handled because I watched him try to brain a man on a coal cart. So I'm gonna stay down and investigate.
All right, so go ahead and roll your investigations. Yes, Adrian.
As I'm noticing that nobody is
the lack of
the lack of physical and emotional support is quite prevalent, and I'm very
emotional support is here in the front room.
So now that I know that like no one's following, I'm actually quite glad of that, and will is just climbing up the stairs. I think it's about halfway, and we'll start like he has this kind of combination where he clicks on his boots because he has some like springs in them, and what he's going to attempt to do is go halfway up the ladder and then spring up, and as he springs up he's going to pull out the angelic blade and then land in the room in the darkness. And the top hat will flip down as he's like so he's just gonna because if somebody's waiting for me, I'm gonna spring right on up with the blade and then do my superhero pose.
You spring up and do the superhero landing. You're in this kind of storage area, like a loft storage area. You see like various boxes, old chairs, old bits of furniture, old paintings, different things. It's very dark and very quiet.
Perfectly still. Just eyes moving only. Listening for breathing. Listen for breathing.
All right.
Damn it, that's my breathing.
So you give me vigilance check, investigation, or medicine for the good doctor, depending on if you're looking at the bodies or looking at the room. Investigation for Emrys. And Stephanie, you gave me an investigation.
I got 2 successes.
Cheers, Wiley. Thank you for dropping in. Super appreciate you, man. I'll catch you later. Thank you for dropping in here. Let me give Wiley a shout out that I didn't do earlier. I will do that very quickly here. Shout out. I need a better way to do shout outs than writing out shout out. Wily Hobbit. As you might suspect, Wily Hobbit is a hobbit. Do check out his hobbit hole. It's full of fun hobbity stuff. Thanks, Wily. Have a good night. You go through the papers. You look at different things. It hasn't been vandalized or anything. You do quickly find a ledger of different things, and you kind of go through it quickly, and you see at some point some stuff that seems interesting. Like, you don't really have time to kind of read it and get into it, but you see a few words go by. Dr. D, the Tongue of Angels, things of that nature. So you know that you got something in here that's probably going to be pretty useful.
Is it small enough that I can shove it inside my coat?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, we're securing that in there. Hello.
Okay. Let's do Emrys next.
2 successes.
All right. You are searching around the room. You find okay, so there are the 3 bodies that are there. There's definitely signs of struggles. This time they weren't there before. You kind of get the feeling that it was not done all of the same time. It wasn't like 1 against 3. You get the feeling that someone was brought in, killed, and then somebody, like sort of over a short period of time sort of thing. Nothing has been taken. You go through, you see nothing that's been taken or sort of left behind. There's really no trace of anything other than just this kind of ambush having been taken. You clearly see that there are footsteps that lead to that ladder that goes upstairs. So it's very clear that someone at least went out that way after doing the murders. As you can see, a little bit of blood sort of leading in that direction. You kind of expect, I guess, a vision maybe or something like that, but nothing comes of it. There's nothing at all that takes you over. You're just yourself, and there's really nothing else to find.
And these bodies have the wounds in their back?
Yep. I'm assuming you're checking the bodies, Doctor?
Yep.
So I'll give those
1
details
success.
there. Okay, so same thing. One of them appears to be more female. The other 2 appears to be, even though none of them have genitalia. One of them has features of a woman. The other 2 have male features. Same thing. No seraphic symbols on their bodies. You see defensive wounds. There is clearly a fight with these. The cutting of the wings is rougher, less refined. They definitely look like they suffered. So it's not as, and these are several days old. All kind of fairly, like you would say, within a day of each other, but certainly over a week old. And it really feels like the killer has refined their methods since this one. It feels like this one was more rushed, more kind of off the cuff. But yeah, same thing. The eyes are taken. I'm sorry, the eyes are not taken. The eyes are there, and the wings are taken. You had 1 success? Yeah, so that's what you get. So I'll go to the Marquesse in a second. I would like to know, now that you've kind of gone around and done this, what is each of you doing? We'll start with,
I'm going up.
You're going up. And Lillian?
I was going to rejoin the group, but there's no other exits to the front room in here. It's just the hallway to the back.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. She's going to rejoin, and then she kind of takes a step.
The bodies and...
Oh my god.
Dr. Ellis, you are in the midst of exploring these bodies. What would you like to do once you've gleaned all you think you can get without getting them into a proper medical examination room and getting your tools and all that?
I think as much as he does not want to, Dr. Ellis is watching Emrys head for the ladder, and he's not going to let this kid go up there on his own. So he is following.
Marquesse, you are upstairs in your hero pose. What was your vigilance?
3 successes, and he will say "Valitza liquam," Latin for "come get some." Whoever's there.
With 3 successes, not only do you know there's someone is there, not only do you know they're aware of you, you realize they're dropping on you right now from the ceiling. What would you like to do?
Okay, they're dropping upon me from the ceiling. Well, he will try to avoid such encounter with the angel sword and kind of dodge back.
Kind of do sort of okay. So are you trying to dodge? Are you trying to kind of parry? What do you want to do?
Yeah, kind of a kind of a roll back type thing.
All right, so let's do a physique and agility. Let's do a physique and agility for you.
Okay. Two successes.
All right. He has more. He comes down and you see him and you kind of roll. And at the last second, as he was kind of dropping down, you kind of roll out of the way. At the last second, he sort of just extends a leg and catches you. And the strength is tremendous. Like the blow gets you on the shoulder, but you feel it reverberating through your entire body. And you literally kind of go up and spin and kind of go screeching back. The rest of you kind of hear this thump, kind of noise. You kind of go start screeching back. Do you have any sort of armor on you?
Only plot. No, just kidding.
So none. Yeah. So
no,
you will
just a heavy coat. Really.
All right. So you'll take a physical condition. You pushed earlier, right?
Yes.
All right. So you also have a mental condition.
So I am angry and exhausted.
That's right. So
a good
you get hit. Remember now, you lose 1 dice to most of your rolls. So you get hit and you kind of roll back and fall back. You see, kind of crouching, almost in the exact same position that you were a moment before, is a man of about regular size, average size, with a long coat. He's wearing kind of like a not a fedora, but like a one of those like flat caps, almost kind of like Peaky Blinder caps, but the ones that the newspaper boys would wear, were kind of like the bigger sort of thing, and a scarf around the bottom of their face. And he kind of hits you, and as you push, he's there, and then he looks down and sees that there's people coming up the stairs, and he goes, "If you know what's good for you, you'll stay out of this." And he turns around, and you see him, he starts climbing up, and you can see that there's a skylight up there, and he's climbing up some boxes to kind of reach to the skylight. You were first, Emrys, so you see this person sort of looking down towards you, this person with his cap and this mask, and then you hear what he says to the Marquesse, and then he kind of disappears, and you kind of get up at that point. You see the Marquesse on his back, sort of like maybe like 15 feet further down, and there's a trail of dust where he's skittered back, like as he was kicked and pushed. And you also, out of the corner of your eye, see this person kind of climbing up. Coming up behind is the doctor. So let's go around. What do you do? We'll start with the Marquesse.
Looking up and seeing the situation very quickly getting out of hand, he will he's going to take the blade that he had. Was he able still to hold on to it, or did he let it go?
Yeah, I will say you certainly were able to hold on to it.
Okay. Well, then he no, he was going to throw it, but this is a very important artifact. So he will pull out his revolver and then cock it very loudly, like, "Stop."
Yeah, right. Emrys, you notice this, that he's pulled out a revolver and he's pointing it up. It's like, "Stop." What do you do?
I'm just charging full force to try to tackle that guy.
That's going up the thing that's trying to get up to the... Okay, no problem. Dr. Ellis, you are coming up right behind Emrys, and you see Emrys kind of jump up and start running, and you hear a gun cocking. Just as your head kind of clears, you can see the Marquesse sort of aiming up. Lillian, are you going up also, or are you going to stay downstairs?
I think Lillian for the moment is going to stay downstairs because, one, she is not a fighting character, and two, she's in a dress with some thick skirts, and I feel like she's only going to get in, she feels like she's only going to be in the way, but she's going to just call up, just like, Doctor, what's happening?
All right. So,
And I
Emrys.
will say Dr. Ellis is quiet because he's talking to himself. So, like, he does not
Normal.
respond to Lillian. He's just like, now would be a very, very good time for you to make yourself useful.
Excuse me?
You hear the doctor telling you to make yourself useful, Emrys.
As Emrys is scrambling, just screaming, "What do you think I'm trying to do?"
Emrys, give me a close combat plus physique roll, please.
Okay. There's 2 successes.
All right. You kind of clamber up. He's about to kind of go out the skylight, and you kind of reach out and go to grab him, and he turns around and he just backhands you, and you go flying down and you hit something, and you hit the ground. He goes, "Stay out of this, kid!" And he hits you. Bang! You go flying down. Marquesse, you see this? Do you do anything? He's about to jump out. He's just hit Emrys. Emrys, you take 1 physical condition. He's not listening to you, is what I'm saying. So, do you do anything, or
Gotcha.
do you?
Has Emrys already hit the ground?
Yep.
Or was it that quick? Okay.
No. If you want to do something, jump in and tell me what you want to do. So you see him turn around and hit
I
Emrys.
think he was getting ready to shoot, and Emrys runs up, gets cold cocked, and as like he was going to take his shot, but then he'll stop his shot to try to catch Emrys, so it doesn't like fall down the ladder.
Give me another agility roll with your physique, please.
I'll take -1.
Yes, for your physical condition.
1 success.
All right, 1 success is good enough. So you kind of just at the last minute, and you remember something. When you were starting your career as a master criminal, as master vigilante, you remember York teaching you something that people fall at the same rate, and after a certain time, they gain a certain velocity and they don't fall any faster. But what you want to do if someone's falling is break the fall, because then they will fall from whatever height you broke the fall at. So instead of trying to catch Emrys, which would just injure you and them, you wait till they're at kind of your height, and then you give them a shove, and then that kind of makes them fall from a height of like 5 feet instead of from where they fell. So you just feel yourself getting shoved, Emrys, as you kind of are almost about to hit the floor, and you kind of tumble off to the side, and it kind of bruises you, but it doesn't do damage. You don't take the physical, condition from that, and you kind of roll in the dust. As the Marquesse is just kind of reaching and sort of pushing you out of the way. Doctor, you're kind of climbing up at this point. You can see the figure is pushed open the skylight and is climbing out of it. What would the 3 of you like to do?
I think the doctor is first just going to check on Emrys and make sure that he is okay.
Okay.
That right now is his priority. He knows he can't catch this man.
I would like to throw my knife at this man.
Okay. And Marquesse. Henry.
He will look up, throw his hat down to the ground, and he will click on his boots again, and he's going to attempt to jump up through the
Doctor, you
skylight.
Climb up, and you reach Emrys just as Emrys flicks the knife away. So you can sort of come to them and check them, and I'll let you have a little moment in a second. But you can see they're not very wounded; they're just kind of out of it. Go ahead and give me a ranged combat plus precision roll, Emrys.
There's 1 success for me.
All right, you throw the knife. Marquesse, give me an agility plus physique roll. You are muted, my friend.
2 successes, and that's with a -1.
Excellent. So as you're reaching up, you jump up, you go, and you kind of jump up. You see this knife just kind of goes and it hits the man. You hear him scream as the knife embeds itself in his back, and he kind of stumbles forward. He drops the skylight. So as you come jumping up, you kind of go through it. It explodes into shards of glass everywhere. He's kind of rolling down, and you sort of clear him. If you would go and take a look at the map. You find yourselves on a series of rooftops. You have come out here. So he has kind of rolled out. You've come out there, up here, and he's kind of rolled off, poof, poof, and hit the ground. And you kind of cleared all of that and landed here on the ground next to him in your hero pose again. He's kind of trying to get up. You see he's got the knife embedded in his shoulder. Back inside, you, Doctor, reach Emrys just as Emrys throws the knife. You get to them. You can see that they're all right. Do you wish to say or do anything?
What did you say earlier? We need to stop meeting like this. Can you please take care of yourself for 2 minutes?
Can we please go catch that guy? And Emrys is like pushing the doctor, trying to get him to go.
And the doctor is somewhat reluctantly going to climb up after the Marquesse.
All right. What will Emrys do?
I'm actually going to go look for Lillian.
All right. What's Lillian doing?
Lillian is still in the room with the bodies. She has no idea what the fuck is going on up there. But would she have heard the glass shatter at all?
Yeah, you would have heard like the scuffle and the glass and all that for sure.
Okay, so assuming someone might have fallen out the window or be escaping out the window, she's going to run back towards the front of the shop. And on her way, she's going to grab one of the crystal balls and just try to like unlock the door and just kind of assess where anyone is outside.
All right, so you would think it'd be behind the house probably.
Okay, behind the house.
Yeah.
So she'll grab one from there and just book it.
Start running.
towards the back.
Emrys, as you look down the ladder, you see her running back towards the front house. You kind of climb down, and when you go through the curtain, you see her running outside. Your dog is going with her.
The camera would show Emrys looking probably more frantic than he has, almost like he's like, do not leave. Like he is trying to get to her. And he is going to run. And if he can catch up, I don't know if I can on this round.
Since she's running in, I assume high heel boots and very thick skirts and
boots, skirts, corset, he could probably catch up.
Yeah, I would think like you.
I'm not a fast physical character. He could probably catch up quite easily.
So you would be able to catch up to her. So we'll say this is happening. You're running, and just before she turns a corner into the alley, you catch up to her. We'll come back to you in a moment. Upstairs, Marquesse, you have landed in your hero position. This man is kind of getting up, backing away from you, reaching behind, pulling out the knife. Don't do this.
Going after him.
You come at him.
Stop. We don't have to fight.
No, we don't.
Keep going. No, we don't.
You just stay here. Stay out of this. You really do not want to be involved in this. I don't know who you are or what your stake in this is, but this is way beyond what you and yours can do. So stay out of it.
Happen. And
this is as friendly a warning as you're going to get. You got to start the sword.
He's got the sword. He's got that little cleaver thing.
Doctor,
you Kung Pao chicken on it. He's like,
you come up.
Let's go.
Out of the skylight, and you see the Marquesse there with his sword, probably in a very proper fencing position. And this man's got this little knife in his hand, and he's saying this like, you don't want any part of this, what you want to do. But the Marquesse looks like he's about to throw down. What would you like to do?
I think that Dr. Ellis just looks back and forth between the two of them and just says, look, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. which looks very strange for this unassuming, clearly not physically fit man to be proclaiming.
Well, I don't want to have to hurt either of you. I'm going off that roof. If you come after me, I will not hesitate. And he slowly starts backing away, heading towards the roof. I will put the good doctor here also. Up there. He's slowly starting to kind of back away towards here. Tell me what you do.
Stop. Don't make me shoot you. I revealed that I have a gun.
He's clearly not listening. He's backing up. Dr. Ellis, what do? You hear this?
We don't have to use violence.
That's right. We
You
don't.
still have the chance to stop this.
We don't have to fight.
What were you doing up there? That's all we want to know.
I reckon the same thing you are. He starts climbing.
You take one more move and I will shoot you.
Do it.
Take another step.
He looks at you.
And I'm angry. I mean, I'm exhausted. I'm like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm just going to shoot you. Just
he turns around and starts booking.
I'm going to fire. I'm going to shoot him right in the back.
Give me
right
your
like a hero, right in the back.
That's right. Give me your range combat precision. Do you want to do something, Doctor? As he turns around and books, and he fires, and Henry fires.
I think I'm going to, obviously, out of the line of trajectory, be running towards the man. Mostly because I'm expecting that the Marquesse is going to shoot him. And if he does, I want to staunch the bleeding, if at all possible. Like, that is my goal, is get to him, make sure he doesn't die.
So he runs, starts running up here. You jump down, start running towards him. The gun fires. Back downstairs, Emrys, you catch up to Lillian just as she's about to turn the corner and run into the alley. What do? Do you keep running? Do you stop her? Do you talk? What do you want to do?
Can you put us on the map of, like, would we be headed in the right direction?
Yeah. So
like, are we about to, like, on a collision course with the guy running?
Yeah, you would
Is
be
he
like
on the ground?
you would be like down the alley down there, basically.
Okay.
Like you've just turned the corner there.
Mm-hmm.
You see yourselves on the map there. The audience says,
Yes.
"Let me just bring the map down a little bit." There we go. I love this map. Animated
cool.
dungeon
It's
maps.
very cool.
I'm going to grab Lillian's, like, forearm, and just say, I stabbed a man in the back. He's on the roof. They're chasing after him. Do you think that we need help? And to the group, Kian is posing, should we use our token to call Lestrade to bring in backup? I don't know how long y'all want to let it play out, but I am posing that to the group. But that was all Emrys would say.
I don't believe it would hurt to call in Lestrade at this time. Are you all right? There was such a commotion up there.
Yeah. Somebody saved my life. I'm still moving us. I'm keeping my hand on her forearm. I'm going to keep moving us in that direction. And if there's no major objection from JD or Adrian, I would like to use the token to call in Lestrade to start bringing backup in.
All right. So this is what happens as you're asking that question of Lillian. Lillian said, "I think we should." Upstairs, he turns around, starts running up the roof. You run towards him, Doctor. The gun fires. The man arcs his back as if hit by the bullet, tumbles forward. You hear the gunshot. You turn around, Lillian and Emrys, in time to see falling off the roof the figure of this man who just falls and lands, bamf, on a bunch of crates that are there that just shatter and sort of explode. Doctor, as you're running, you get a kind of weird flashback. You remember running, being on the run, someone's accusing you or something, police after you, a gunshot. Your adrenaline is going so hard right now. the whole situation, the discovery downstairs. Give me, my friend, a logic and vigilance roll.
Oh no. But I
I
thought you were
would
just a normal
absolutely love to.
guy.
And I'm telling you right now, you're going to need at least 3 successes. So if you want to use your advantage,
No.
do you wish to push? You can push to roll.
Chaos.
All right.
I am. The dice have spoken.
As the gunshot erupts through the night, this man falls off the roof. Whistles start going off as police officers are responding to the gunshot that they've heard. So this is your Lestrade token, and you can hear cops are starting to come on the area. They're whistling to each other and to call each other, and they're heading this way. And you can see lanterns coming down the alley and whatnot.
Lillian's not sure who fell, so she is just going to be like, Mr. Emrys, come on, and just starts running to see who fell off the roof. If it's one of the Henrys or if it's whoever was up in the attic.
Okay, we'll start with the roof. On the roof, Marquesse, you're not sure if you hit the man or not. You thought maybe. I think I saw you roll that you missed.
I missed.
You felt your shot missed, but it looks like he reacted like you managed to hit him. Doctor, what's happening to the doctor right now?
What is happening to the doctor right now?
What does
Dr.
the Marquesse
Ellis.
sees?
Yeah, it's
I
like
think initially what you see doesn't look that abnormal, because what you see is Dr. Ellis crouched on the edge of the roof looking down. And if you're staring closely at him, you might notice some subtle changes. He looks broader in the shoulders than he did before. He looks stronger. And he just crouches there for a long moment before turning his head to you at almost an unnatural angle. And his eyes gleam in the moonlight, and he just smiles at you.
there's a moment where I'm like, God, I hope there's another bullet in this gun. Just in case.
The effect that you're getting is that of a
Like-
feral animal now in front of you, like something primal and just animalistic almost.
Marquesse will not move. He's just like, kind of like when you go into someone's backyard to see they have a pit bull. You're like, whoa, just don't move. No quick movements. Bring the gun towards the belt.
Meanwhile,
Just really hard because he hears police like whistling,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Who called the cops? Oh God. Oh God. This is bad.
Meanwhile, downstairs, Lillian, you rush forward. You see, stepping out of this destroyed batch of crates and whatnot, someone comes up. It's hard to see in the darkness at first. Someone along when they're kind of dusting themselves off. They don't seem worse for wear or injured at all. And as you kind of come close and come into the light, they turn around and you see a man wearing, not wearing a cap anymore. It's gone off in the sort of the tumble and the fall and all that. But he's wearing kind of a rag around his face. And he stops and he looks at you. What do you do?
How close is he to me?
I'd say maybe like 15 feet or so. 15, 20 feet. You are just there, Emrys, like just behind.
She just kind of stops short, just trying to like get any detail she sees, like hair or eye color, which I imagine is hard in the night, and just says, "Did you kill them or not?"
I know this is probably going to be difficult to believe, but you have to believe me. And as he starts speaking, the voice is very familiar. And he reaches up and brings down the bandana. And as he does, you recognize Percival. I did not do this. You have to believe me. But if you value your safety as much as I value your safety, you and your friends will no longer be involved in this. It's too dangerous. You have no idea what is happening for your own safety. He looks up over your shoulder and sees Emrys, for all your safeties. And he pushes the bandana back. Stay away. And he turns around.
You think you can take the Dark Angel by yourself?
He stops, looks over his shoulder. We'll see. And he starts running just as cops start coming up behind you. Over here, I found them. There are people over here. Ma'am, are you okay? And then he come up to you and behind Emrys, son, are you all right? Are you, is this boy bothering you, ma'am? And the cops are coming in from everywhere.
No, he's with me. He's with me. She's been kind of like locked on the figure of Percival running away and just immediately grabs Emrys, just like, he's with me. He's with me. He's with me. He's keeping me safe. He's with me. She just has her eyes just locked where he disappeared.
Up on the rooftop, you can look down. Well, I was going to say doctor, but the doctor's not home. And you look down and you can see all these lights, all these cops converging. You see Lillian holding Emrys. You can hear the dog barking downstairs. All these spotlights, these whistles kind of converging down on the streets beneath you. And with that, we will end tonight's session. Everybody okay?
Yes.
My boyfriend's
incredible.
back and he's in so much fucking trouble.
I can't believe you left us on that cliffhanger, Bleak.
I know!
You are a monster. Truly.
Truly.
You know, we all have our secrets.
Mm-hmm.
When you split up and the two of you went outside and the other two, I was like, oh my God, I could not have planned this better.
It's perfect.
It is so
It's so
perfect.
good.
That I was like, I was kind of wondering how I was going to work it out, how it was going to happen, you know, because I wanted, of course, Lillian to have the reveal and all that. But
my
I
plan
don't know
was to try to chuck the crystal ball at his legs and trip him up. Because I was
When you
like,
went
I'm
out
not
there-
a physical character. I should not
Yeah,
be
no,
in
that was
combat.
fine.
It's going to go real bad.
But it was
No,
just
I was
perfect.
tripped up.
The way you did everything, it was perfect.
It was great.
Totally worked out. Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll find out next week in the third of our 4 episodes exactly what is this connection, exactly what did happen to the doctor, and exactly why is the Marquesse such a bad shot.
Tired and angry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Exhausted, angry.
Jumping all around, you know, just going all over the place. Thanks so much. Please tell the folks watching who you are, where they can find you, what you got going on, all that good stuff. We will start with the doctor who's currently no longer a doctor, but something else. JD. What's up, JD?
This was an incredible session. Oh my God, I'm very excited. So yes, I am JD. I have been Dr. Henry Ellis. Who I will be next week is up for grabs, but it should be interesting. You can find me in so many places, but most often with Live from the Apocalypse. I will in fact be back there tomorrow night and Friday night. So tomorrow night we'll be doing Thy Kingdom Come, our Urban Shadows religious theocracy game, which is having its mid-season finale. And then on Friday, we will be returning with season 2 of A Season of Secrets and Shadows, our Regency-flavored Monster Hearts game, which is kicking off with a whole bunch of playbook changes and a whole lot of romance and drama and wars and face shit and all sorts of amazing stuff. And then I will be with Exquisite Corpse Presents on Saturday for Sister Cities, weather permitting. And that is all I have.
Imagine that, JD having like a million things going on all at the same time.
That's just because I'm not listing everything on my calendar for next week.
Well, thank you for sparing us the heartache of knowing how strenuous it'll be. But as long as you're enjoying it, thank you, JD. I'm glad that we got to see that side of the Doctor tonight. I was hoping that there would be an opportunity for that. And, well, we'll see what happens next week. Next week, we're going to pick up right here, right now, and you might have to explain yourself. We'll see what we do with that. Thank you so much. Next up, the other person that's on that roof right now, hoping he's got a bullet left, even though he'll probably miss. Adrian.
You miss one time. Now you're a bad shot.
You miss one time.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian. I
kitty.
go on the internet as @SlySparrow on Twitter and Discord and Twitch. And I played the Marquesse Henry Beresford tonight, and I had a wonderful time creating this collaborative story with everyone involved. I love this kind of dark, gothic, Victorian horror. These Penny Dreadful stories are awesome. And the project I'm doing something. I'm starting Pirate Borg next week on September 19th. Talk Like a Pirate Day. Go figure. Get to play with pirates. That'll be lots of fun. Looking forward to some lots of death and swashbuckling adventure. So come on by and say hi. That'll be at Guild Superior next week. That's all for me.
And those Borg games are killer. It's one of those games where when you start a game, you make more than one character because one of them's definitely going down the drain, if not more than one. So that'll be great. I look forward to watching that. Thank you so much, Adrian, for being here and for springing your spring heels on us. We'll see where that takes us next week also. Stephanie, who just had a little... I'm not going to call it a romantic meeting, but it was definitely a reunion.
It was a reunion of sorts. Hey, I've been Lillian. This is very fun. The drama, it's going great. She's a bit shook, so I'm just kind of collecting my thoughts. You can find me usually at Live from the Apocalypse. I am also in the Season of Secrets and Shadows Season 2 at Table 2, so I will be on next Friday, not this Friday, but they're all intertwined, so check us out there. You can also catch me in JD's homebrew psychological horror game Redacted, and I will be here next week for more Victorian murders.
And maybe some answers and way more questions. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Always a lot of fun to have you here. Kian, who just steals everything that's not nailed down to the floor.
I'm coming back for that Raven. I have to.
Hello, everybody. For you.
It broke my heart that you didn't grab it as you were
I
running out.
I was trying to kill a man. I got distracted. My name is Kian. I am a Filipino queer trans TTRPG performer. Most of the time I'm hanging out over on Lost Caravan. I'm in the recurring campaign there, Five the Ultima, every other Saturday. JD didn't mention it. Starting the 24th, we are back with Nova Season 2.
Oh, fuck yes, we are.
I'm so excited. I know that means JD forgot, but that's okay. I will be here to remind you. I'm super excited about that. Definitely come hang out. It's our trauma arc. We are all processing the terrible things we went through. Starting in October, I will be over on High Shelf Collective in a Beacon campaign run by JT, which I'm super excited about as well. I've got a couple other projects coming up that I can't mention. Follow me on social media, uptight_chiffon or uptight-chiffon, depending on which platform you're on. That is where you will hear about my next stuff. That's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And Dead Raven will be there waiting for you. Don't you worry. I am Bleakseason. You can find me everywhere listed in my little links there. You can find me tomorrow in Guild Superior, starting a new Lord of the Rings campaign, the third arc of this little trilogy that we're working on. Thank you so much, TCAT, for hanging out. Really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank my players. Amazing as always. Thank you, Kay. Saw you were in there also, and Mr. Ty, Dungeon Mr. Ty, a bunch of people that were hanging out earlier. Thank you so much. We're going to raid our good friend Phoenix Iwaki. So please, if you would, stick around, give our friend Phoenix Iwaki some love, and we will see you here next week, same time, 8 o'clock Eastern, for part 3 of 4 of Strange Death in Paradise. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Greatly appreciate everybody. Have yourselves a good week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.